Well, welcome to Paulette's Paper Play. Today I am using Patchwork Roses. This is from our uniquely creative friends in Australia. We've got their 6x6 collection and their die cuts. They call them creative cuts. And this is one of the cards that I have made for you. And you can see as it opens up. Okay, won't you please come play with us? Okay, well, I poured out some of the die cuts. These are the ones I did not use, but there are over 40 in the package. And let me just slide those over, so I'll give you some ideas of what to do with that. The 6x6, there are 32 sheets. They are single-sided, and just to let you see the designs that are here. So 1, 2, and then of course you get multiples of them, but they're really pretty. That's hard to see, but it is a very tiny pink checkerboard. And there are some cutouts in here also, a red gingham, some ovals, so one solid and a stripe and a dot. You can see there's just a lot in here. Come on. And another and another. And there are some cutouts, both of those, and then everything is repeated. So quite a nice variety, I can assure you. And so let's get started on our first card. And you have 2 of each of the creative cuts, the die cuts. And I just thought that Dream a Little Dream was really fun to have. So now I am using on all of these projects, I think that's almost true, the 5x6.5 inch card. Well, certainly on this one. And you can see that I used this, it's got the flowers and the stripe. This is on the front of my card. I do always trim, or often trim them down smaller than my card. So it's like 4.5 by 6.25. And that just fills a nice space. I do hold on to the extras through the whole design process, just in case there's a wonderful place to use that. Didn't happen this time, but that's okay. Now, the Dream a Little Dream, I'm not sure if you can see on the camera, maybe we'll get in closer. I did mat it onto the dot, and I think you're almost seeing it there, but not quite, a little bit closer. There you go. So this is the dot, and in person, it's very, very visible, but I just did mat this on here just to give it, because it is cut out, and I wanted to have it really stand out. So I did mat it, and I did foam tape it onto the card. Now notice that it's not centered on the card, it's over to the right. So that just works well with this because it's such a bold statement. And as I was putting that down, I came upon that little heart, and I'm not sure if I can find the duplicate. And I decided to lift up the E and little and just glue that underneath. So just to add a little something. You can see around the whole edge, I did add the thin line dazzles. Now these are thin line primary. This has blue, yellow, brown, green, red, and black in it. Where did the pink come from, Paulette? Oh, wait. Ignore that for a second. I used this one. This is the pink thin line dazzles. This is the new color that we came out with last year. And you can see that that is just edging it, and pink matches perfectly. I also added it along the Dream a Little Dream. Now, this beautiful rose is foam taped just at the corner there, just going over the D, and that's part of the creative cuts. But I wanted to add something a little bit more. So I went into our 3 butterflies. This is butterfly stickers in 3 colors. Pink is one of the colors. And as you may know on these, there are 3 different sizes. 3 seems to be our magic number to have of sizes of things. So I have the biggest one right on the corner of the message, and then a smaller one and a smaller one just kind of going up. So that gives me a little bit of shine. Now on the inside of my card, I elected to keep the stripe. I just lied to you. I did use it. Well, good for me. I did use that piece I tore off, and I did use the dot, but then I wanted something more. So I went to the gingham, and it may seem funny. Not everyone likes pink and red. Yes, Teresa, I'm talking about you. But I like it, and I thought it worked nicely here. It is a very tiny gingham, And so I did one big piece of gingham and then I put the other two on it. This is where I used the thin line primary because I wanted to emphasize that blue, and this blue just does a great job of going with the blue flowers. So right here, and right in the middle, all of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, just vertically. I didn't go horizontally on the top and bottom like I did on the front. This is another of the Creative Cuts, foam taped. This is also one of the Creative Cuts that I just glued flat and tucked under the wings, the leaves of the roses, and then 2 more butterflies right there. So just, again, it's really fun to have the inside coordinate but be different. And so that was the goal there. Okay, I'm going to go to the next card, and this is a 6x6 card. And as I said, there are the greetings in the yes, my happy place, in the Creative Cuts, and this is the second one. But we had just received the gold, copper, and silver pens, and I thought, wow, it's just calling to be colored in, don't you think? So this is the silver pen. I used the gold pen earlier in a webisode. This is the silver. And I did just color in that white area of happy. Now, this is fun because they also have the word crafty. And the word crafty is gray with white in the center. And I just went over the white with the silver pen, okay? I did the same thing with that butterfly. And I'm not seeing a second one, but it was just, actually, no, I guess I don't have another one. I just went over the lines, the white lines. I just went over them with the silver. So silver, silver, silver. This is flat. This is flat. This is foam tape. This is one of the Creative Cuts. And this, I just have a little piece of the extra sticky tape, about half an inch. Just put it behind the body and pulled off the liner, placed it down, and then I can lift up the wings. And you know, they're going to stay somewhat lifted even when it goes through the mail, so that works nicely. But it was fun to use the silver pen, and I recommend anytime you see white, think about coloring it because that worked well. And this was the paper that I used. Now, you'll notice it looks different on my card than it does right here, and that's because I inked it. Now, I don't always do that, but I often do. And I used blush, which is just such a perfect match. So I placed this on my craft mat, use my blending brush, and simply go around the edges. Super easy, super fast. The thing I like about these ink pads is that they have so much ink in them that I rarely have to go to a second one. I think Velvet Fawn is the only one I've had to go to a second one so far, and that's doing a lot of inking. So plus the price is excellent, so that's always nice to share with you. And let me see. Oh, this is the Crafty. Okay, so there you can see it. I kind of tested on the second one just to make sure it would work. So that's my first card. Easy, these make great big statements, but what I thought was fun, and the reason why I added Crafty instead of just my happy place, because they also have some things inside. They have a tag that says, easily distracted by craft supplies. Now, that is you and me. So I thought it was just appropriate that this be a crafty, happy place. Now this is on that window pane that I'm sure you can't see, but it's got pink lines. I edged it with the blending brush and the blush, and then I matted it on the pink metallic cardstock. So that way I've got silver here and silver here. Since there was nothing that I chose to use in silver, I wanted this to coordinate. So the easily distracted by craft supplies, I just thought was great. This strip is a cut off piece of this or from another card, I'm not sure. Must be from another card. So I just colored it with the blush because I wanted it to be more pink and to stand out against this. Folded it. And then, so it looks like this is hanging from it. And then I have the other tag just underneath. Best day ever is creative cut. So is that flower. Those are foam taped on top. So just a really fun statement if you have a crafty friend, which you probably do. Okay, so that's our card number 2. Our card number 3 is the one that I showed you in the beginning, and this has a little bit more going on with it. And you do need 2 cards. So I'm going to open this up, and you're going to take your 2 cards. Let's see, do I have them? Well, and you're just going to glue. Okay. So this is one card and this is the other card. Okay, so you open them up flat and you just glue the back of this to the front of this so that you have 3 panels, okay? So that just makes it easy. So 3 panels. Then you're going to score down the center of this panel and down the center of this panel. I like to use a scoreboard. That's exactly what I used because it gets me really clean cuts and it's got the bone folder right there. So if that works for you. Hunky Dory is going to do one more run of the scoreboards and then they're going to discontinue them. So that will be happening next year. Just wanted to let you know. Okay, so you have this now with the 2 score lines. Then I measured 3 inches up on each side, and I drew a line from that to the first score. I did it on this one, and I did it on this one, and then cut those, okay? That is going to give you the base for our gatefold card. And let me just bring this back, okay? So on this card, you've got a couple of panels, as you can see. So what I used, obviously, is this green plaid, and I just cut it. It's a 6 by 6, so it's not going to go the whole 6.5 inches. So I fudged and just glued it to the top. So it's got a little bit more at the bottom, but you know, you kind of don't see that. So I thought that was a good fudge. Okay, so 2 panels there. Then I went to my old friend, Asparagus Suede, which just seems to match anything that's gorgeous. And it does match the greens in these creative cuts. So I used that. And what was interesting is that what you can do is a couple of things. You can make a square. So measure this. Well, I guess you really can't. So you're just going to have to measure that triangle, or you can just cover the whole piece with it, in which case you would put your adhesive down, place this, turn it over and trim it there and trim it right here. So that's actually what I did as I was playing with this. So I covered both of these 2 panels with the suede. Now, the piece that you cut off up here is going to be a perfect template to go down here. So I use that to cut 2 triangles, right-sided triangles, if you remember your geometry, out of the gingham and do attach those. Now I did use extra sticky tape for going onto suede, so that just gave me an extra piece there. So at this point, you've got this done, you've got this covered with asparagus, and you've got the 2 triangles. Now, I did go with the white thin line dazzles, and that's what this is in this package. This has got black, white, gold, and silver. And I think there's 31 pieces on each piece, 31 borders on each piece. And you can see that I just edged the outside of this. Okay, so all the way down. Then for this, now what I wanted to do was to create something a really wonderful focal. So I used white glitter, because how can you go wrong with white glitter? And of course my suede, because you have to buy a whole sheet, so you might as well play with it. I didn't use the whole thing, so I still had some left, so that was nice. So I did layering of it. So I first took this piece and decided what size of die I needed. So I simply laid it on here. The circle one worked, or the smoothed edged oval worked. So I die cut that out of the glitter. Then I did the next biggest, the scalloped, out of the suede. Then I did another one out of the glitter because I wanted it to hide the next layer, okay? So as you're putting those together, again, I used extra sticky tape. Then put this, you're only going to attach the left-hand side to the left-hand gate, okay? Makes sense. The thinking of you comes from the tiny words and phrases. And I just love this because it gets your message even if you have a huge focal like this, and I just think that's perfect. I did put it on the left-hand side. You could put it on the right-hand side, whatever you wanted. So this is going to lift right here. So now this is a smaller, similar creative cut. I did the reverse, no, I did the same. I was gonna do the reverse so far as doing, instead of glitter first, I was gonna put the asparagus first, but it didn't quite work out, so I just duplicated it. So I've got glitter, same thing with the rounded edge, then the asparagus, but you can see these are smaller, okay? Then the big one, and that goes just on the right side, so just the right side of this to the right side to the right gate. Then opening this, now this was fun. I was at first thinking of doing another one, but I thought, no, let's let these two really grab that attention and let's just have this. So I've got a piece of the glitter. By the way, all the measurements are down below in the card, so I've written that all out for you. This is another one, and I just love having it overlapping the matting. Now you can mat it, which is what I did, or you can just cut 2 strips of the asparagus and attach them underneath the glitter, whichever you want. Kind of depends on how much asparagus you have left. And the just because is also part of the thinking of you. And this, like I said, is overlapping over here, which is a technique that I really like and I encourage you to use, especially if it's new for you. And then this is going to fold and this is going to fold, and it's easy. This is going to take a few more minutes, but I think it's well worth it. So I hope you like that. Okay, now I've got one more card, and this is it. So here we go, and I'll show you a mistake, and I'll show you what someone else did too. So this is using, again, 5 by 6.5 with the fold at the top, and this is the paper that I used on the front. And again, this is a 6 by 6 paper pad, so you're just going to trim it. I attach that. And then I went back to those same thin line primary dazzles that I talked about in the first card. Remember, I used it on the inside? Well, I used it again just on the edges here. I just wanted to define those edges a little bit. Did not ink them this time. However, I did ink the doily. Now, the doily, just placed it on my craft mat, use my blending brush, and this time I'm using Air Force Blue. I did cover the whole thing. Now, often you've seen me just do the edges or just do the center. I did the whole thing this time. I really wanted to use this bouquet lace. This is also by Uniquely Creative. I think it's just gorgeous. It is a tall piece. I would say, see, if this is 5 inches, that's got to be 3.5 inches, maybe 4. So it's really a statement piece. Now, you want to see what I messed up? Okay, yes you do. This piece I was going to color. I just thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to do some coloring on it? So I took the blush ink pad and I squished it onto my craft mat. I misted it and I took a water brush and I colored it. Well, that was fine, except Paulette was impatient and did not wait for it to dry before I started doing some other coloring, at which point the ink bled kind of everywhere, and there was no way I could fix it. So if you're going to color it, which I do recommend, wait between your colors. For goodness sakes, let it dry. Now, let me show you what Lene did when she followed that advice. This is, I think this is one of the first projects we did on stencils and such. No, go in closer, please. Okay, this is on glitter, and she stenciled using our doily stencil onto glitter, the white glitter. And here is what she did with coloring that. Same process that I just told you, except that she waited, for goodness sakes, for each of the colors to dry. So it can be done. You just need a little patience. Thank you, Lene. You had patience. I did not. Okay, so but you can go with just white. That works nicely. Now, in this case, I have another butterfly. This is like the butterfly, exactly like the butterfly that I did the gold ink on earlier. This one's done the same thing. And I do have this little tag that's part of the cutouts. The Grateful for You is right there, and that's just tucked under and glued flat. So everything is flat except the butterfly with the extra sticky tape. Okay, now I'm going to go on the inside. And on the inside, well, not only does Uniquely Creative have the bouquets, they have butterflies. And this butterfly is just going to go on a doily that's flat, or that's not painted, that's not inked. I did use, as you can see, a different paper. So these are the two papers. Again, love that they coordinate so nicely. I did use the same thin line dazzles on the inside, just a little bit on the inside. Let them make an X on the corner, and so that worked. The Everyday Bliss was not colored, it was white, so I did ink it with the blush ink pad and the blending brush. This is one of the other little cutouts. Now this butterfly also did color it with the blush, and was a little more successful in waiting for it to dry. Okay, so that is my last card. I would imagine you like seeing the mistakes, but do let me know, because I am bearing my creative soul here with you. I want to make sure it's worth it to you. And so that's the fourth one. So all of these are out of the 6x6 Patchwork Roses from Uniquely Creative out of Australia, and with the coordinating creative cuts. Now it might be in my instructions, I might have said die cuts because that's what they are. They simply like using the word creative cuts, which I think works also. Okay, there is a money saver for these. Over on the right-hand side of your screen, I did add the bouquet, the lace bouquets to that money saver because I thought that was neat, and we had enough, so that would be fun for you. As I said, all the instructions are down below. Just click on the card and you'll see the instructions, so that will work for you. If you are seeing this on YouTube, we would love it if you would like us and subscribe. Then please head on over to Paper Wishes. We bring these in directly from Australia, and so I don't know that you're going to find them very many places because of that. I met the owner at a trade show last year, and so it's been really nice to have her work, as well as Paper Rose, who's also from Australia. Okay, I want to thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this. As I said, the money saver's right there, and most of all, I want to thank you for being part of our Paper Wishes family. I'll see you again shortly. Bye-bye.